Welcome, Pain Pros. In today's quick training, I'm going to talk to you about fibromyalgia and issues that are more of the inner body as opposed to the outer body. So, the inner body is physiological systems. Any body issues that are coming more from the physiological systems rather than, as opposed to musculoskeletal systems. Neck pain, back pain, hip pain, muscle, ligament, joint stuff. That is what we would call outer body from my teacher, Mr. Iyengar. And inner body is any kind of issue that has to do with the physiological systems. Could be asthma, all autoimmune issues, and in this case, specifically fibromyalgia. So, how do you help your clients who are in pain and they're also dealing with significant inner body issues? So I had this woman come to me yesterday. She had, day before yesterday, she had back pain, she had hip pain, she had previously had a lumbar surgery, and it helped the pain for a little while. And now the pain is back, and typical tightness in the neck and shoulders. Very, very common stuff that people come in with. However, she has fibromyalgia. So the first thing that I'm going to ask her is, how is her fatigue? And if you ask it like that, then you are right off the bat showing your client that you already understand a lot about what they're going through and kind of demonstrating experience in what they're going through, which is quite helpful. And I did ask her how her fatigue was, and she said that she's tired all the time, which is super classic with fibromyalgia. And so it's super important to understand how to work with any kind of issue that's involving the inner body. We follow the same exact formula. You want to use the correct postures, proven postures. You want to get impeccable alignment in those postures, and you want to get the right actions, the right movements and extensions in those postures. But getting the right movements and extensions, the actions, you have to be a lot more artful. You want your clients who have fibromyalgia, autoimmune, other inner body issues, we want to get them extending in these postures, but we have to be really careful that they don't overdo. This is honestly totally the opposite of clients that we have who have musculoskeletal issues, pain and whatnot. Because the folks who have the musculoskeletal issues, we typically want them to actually be doing more in terms of the actions. Because that is, once we have the right posture, once we have the right alignment, impeccable alignment, then the posture is not that intense for the client. It doesn't feel, it's not so intense when they do the correct actions if we've set it up correctly and optimally. And so we can tell them to extend more, which we want, because that's really how we restructure the bodies, is by moving, getting these extensions with the correct alignment, right? But when it's fibromyalgia, it's a whole different ballgame. And let me share this image with you. This is my client a couple days ago, and this is her counter dog. It's a good posture. She's basically flexible. Her body is basically qualified to have what I would say the hands at this height. You can see from the wrists, the shoulders go up a little bit to the hips, but not that bad at all. And if this were a client who did not have fibromyalgia or an autoimmune issue or some kind of inner body issue that really specifically had fatigue along with it, we would definitely keep this client right where she is, and we would tell her to extend back more. And then we would tell her that again, and we would tell her that again. We would check in between each time, obviously, to make sure that it wasn't too intense. How'd that feel? Whoa. It could be like, wow, that was, yeah, I could totally feel that, but not, oh, that was intense. Didn't like that. Most of the time, it's like, good. How'd that feel? Good. So we are telling them to turn it up, but they're immediately feeling the benefit from that, feeling that it's not too much, feeling like they could do that again. With someone like with fibromyalgia, we are going to prop the posture. We're going to modify the position to help accommodate a better alignment rather than having them extend back more. So you can see the line from the wrist through the shoulders to the hips here. Goes up a little at the shoulders. You're seeing a little bit of upper back, little upper back rounding, all the kyphosis stuff, right? And sorry, from here to here, we just take the hands up, and that facilitates this better alignment, wrist through the shoulders to the hips. And if you look at the upper back, this position with the hands higher is literally moving the vertebrae of the upper back in. You see this? It's rounding back more. You take the arms higher, the upper back vertebrae are moving in more. It's a healthier position on the spine, and you are literally helping restructure that round in the upper back just by taking the hands up higher. Now, don't get me wrong, we are definitely telling her to extend back. I still might put a block on her buttock bones to give her the physical reference point, right, of how to extend back. But we are teaching that extension very, very differently. And I'm telling my client straight up, since you have fibromyalgia, we do not want to overdo. It's very, very important. You know what I'm talking about. This immediately builds so much credibility and authority and trust. They're like, okay, this guy's taking care of me. They've been around so many practitioners that just don't get it. And they overdo a little bit, and then they crash, and then they have to recover from all of this. So when you meet them by saying, look, because you have fibromyalgia, we have to be super careful. We don't want to overdo. It's very, very important that you don't overdo. And I, have done this so much that I might say something with a kind of fun tone of voice, very friendly, saying, I'm showing her the picture. After I take this picture, this is the picture, the first one. I'm showing her this picture and I'm saying, look, you have pretty good alignment here. The line from the wrist through the shoulders to the hips, it's pretty straight. And if I yelled at you and like really, really, take those hips back way more, this round would come in a lot. And then I say to her, but I don't want you to work that aggressively. We definitely want you to extend back. It's crucial that you extend back, but you have to be very sensitive to you being in charge and you only extending back as much as you basically feel like it's not really taxing or stressing your system at all. If you tell them that, they're going to know that you are the person that is safe to do this stuff with, because you're completely naming what they already know, and in many cases would not feel comfortable telling a practitioner that they're working with, hoping that the practitioner doesn't overdo anything, right? So I did that. This is her posture while she's extending back without overdoing. And then I took her hands higher, got her all set up, had her extend back the same amount, took this picture, and then showed her, yeah, see, look at the difference. Look at the difference in the round in the upper back. It's huge. This is actually really healthy. This is actually really getting space in the body. This is really restructuring the body in a way that we want. without forcing you to overdo and really work too hard. Same extension on the mellow side, definitely extending back, don't get me wrong, but definitely on the taking it easy side, modifying the actual position of the posture to optimize the alignment and therefore the structural effect. Make sense? Super important here. And then to follow that up, we're going to do we're always doing multiple repetitions here. I'm not holding her in the posture long. I really don't hold anyone in this posture long, but I do tell people more to vigorously extend back. But we're just getting her in the pose, having her extend back to this comfort level that she's in charge of basically, and then coming up. And then after a couple few repetitions, I've shown her the pictures. She's feeling the effect. Think about it. Fibromyalgia, it's hard for them to exercise. It's hard for them to get relief, and they are tired a lot, and they're literally laying around a lot, and their bodies are stiff, and they have migrating pain. And a very, very simple, safe posture like this is immediately they're going to be feeling a big difference. It's just gold. And then I'm definitely teaching hands behind. Maybe not with the hands fixed, all depends. I like hands fixed because I can give them the physical adjustment. But not having the hands fixed and just turning the arms is definitely how we're going to start, and we're going to see how it goes. If it's easy for them to get the shoulder blades down, then maybe we'll take them to fix the hands on the wall, right? With or without the adjustment. Definitely teaching both of those. And excuse me. And when you have a client with inner body issues, your goal is really to assess them and teach them counter dog in a really, really great way so they can actually get some relief while they're in the room with you. Learn to love this pose, at least in the moment. Like, be impressed with the whole progression of what you've just led them through so that when they walk out, they feel better, which is massive. It's huge for them. And that is the buildup for them being at home, feeling a little stiff, feeling a little pain, and just instantly doing a counter dog instead of having to think through it or go get the piece of paper that's the printout that they got that they're not even related to. They just do it. And when they do it, it works for them a little bit. And next thing you know, they have owned this posture and they are really utilizing it. Typically, they don't need to do it a lot, but they're utilizing it. They've owned it and they really are using it. It's this huge part of what we're doing with our clients in pain. And it is a massive, massive gift that we give them because they're not dependent on anyone for this and they can do it anywhere and it gives them relief and it's safe, right? It protects them. I did forget to mention one thing that I want to say here. I was trying to remember. There's something I'm missing here. And that is that when you set someone else like this up, what you then want to do, actually, see the hands didn't actually go up that high. Here, they're at the rail. This is like maybe one block height higher, right? Anyways, you want to have them stand up. I do have a picture of her doing this that I sent to her. Stand up next to the prop and look at the level of where the hands were and measure that on their body. So this was like just above breast level, basically. And I take a picture and I say, stand next to there. Let's see on your body where that height is so that you know when you go home or when you're out and about, you're looking for a windowsill, you're looking for a cabinet, you're looking for maybe something you can put on a counter that takes it to about this height, but you know the height of where your hand should actually be so that you don't have to figure that out. That's very, very helpful. Take pictures of them like this. Also take a picture of them standing next to the surface they have their hands on so they can measure it against their body, right? And whenever you just never know how this is going to go. You know, some clients with inner body issues, they'll get tired real fast and you're not going to do too many repetitions. Sometimes you can do a bunch of repetitions and a couple more postures, right? Um, what do you think would be a really, really great posture for autoimmune folks, fibromyalgia folks, inner body issue folks who, let's say, have hip pain and low back pain? Obviously, counter dog, right? But what else is going to be really good? Well, tell you what, let me get over here before I share this.
I was
And
going to say the twist, the sitting
okay,
twist.
okay.
Yeah.
Sitting twist. Sitting twist I wouldn't start with. It is a really good gift, but like check it out. I was just gonna lead you over here and like now this is gonna be really, really obvious. But I just wanted to get the screen so it wasn't a giveaway. Okay. So oops, let me share. And then I go to here. Okay, so proven pain postures. What's gonna be really, really good is this one. I don't know why. It sounds like I'm getting a bit of an echo. Hopefully that's gonna stop. Knees to the chest. Oh, I see. I split this window off. This tab went into a different like browser. Okay. Sorry guys. I don't want to screw this up and close this call by accident. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, this one, knees to the chest, rope traction. Your client's laying on the back and they bend their knees to the chest. It's the Pavan both knees together. Then one knee, then the other, one leg straight, one knee bent, one leg straight, the other leg bent. And this is really awesome. This video, of course, is me doing it to myself with a rope fixed. This is in our proven postures because you have to learn how it feels to do it for yourself first, right? But when you're doing this with your client, they're laying on their back and you're pulling the rope. This, for example, is going to be, you're going to include this with like almost every client you have that has inner body issues. Why? Because they can completely relax when they're in the posture. They're totally relaxed. They're not doing anything. And you can get a huge, huge difference here with aligning their pelvis and getting some traction. And then from there, for sure, it's going to be the restoratives. You have to, here's a chest opener, right? Shavasana with a bolster behind the back, knees supported, Supta Baddha Konasana. This one, for people who are flexible and this comes easily, it's an amazing posture and it does come easily for them. You're not going to do this for someone who's a little more flexible, but the go-to is legs up the wall. And so when you have a client who has inner body issues, your goal is to artfully teach them counter dog and hands behind, but very specifically counter dog in a way that you are making the posture really doable with really, really impeccable alignment or the best alignment you can get and good extension without overdoing. And educating them as to that's exactly what the goal is. That's the first goal. And then the second goal is to imagine that we did stress the nervous system when we did that, because we did. Hopefully, we did it very, very artfully and not too much. I mean, everything is stressing the nervous system pretty much, other than just full on restorative stuff, right? So there is a certain amount of stress that went to the nervous system because they did that posture, even if we knocked it out of the park and we did it perfectly and we didn't give them any excess amount, but you want to imagine that you have to recover them from that stress, not just make them feel nice or do some restorative postures because it's smart and it's how obviously we work with inner body issues, but you want to do it in this really compelling way for yourself, where you're feeling like, hopefully they don't know it, but I do know that they got some stress in the nervous system from those repetitions of counter dog. And right now, I'm going to completely help them recover from that. And not just from that, but we're going to, in the process of recovering from that, we're going to help them recover from as much physical stress to the physical body and very, very specifically the nervous system as possible. We're going to help them release as much physical stress as possible in these resting postures. And then with that focus, you're really highly motivated to, I mean, we are anyways, but you're really highly motivated in that moment to really get the posture set up just right. Make sure they're super comfortable with the legs up the wall. The legs up the wall is like the go-to. Um, Sometimes we don't have time to do two different postures. And so the legs up the wall is going to be accessible. It's going to be really, really comfortable for them. And they're going to love being in it for time. Unless some clients, after a few minutes, they're feeling the feet or whatever, and we have to take them out. Then you're going to bring them into a shavasana with the chest supported, something like that. But the legs up the wall is going to give them a really, really good physiological effect. Venous return, lymphatic return in the legs, really, really good. Typically, it's very comfortable, and it should be very comfortable because we're intentionally setting it up that way. As you know, you're not trying to get the buttocks to touch the wall. You're keeping the hips as far away from the wall as they need to be totally, totally comfortable, legs completely relaxed. And you set it up and you give them enough time, or you stack ideally two. Typically, it's not really going to be more than two postures in a very first session, unless that client is already aware that you have resting restorative postures that serve them really, really well, or they come in super fatigued. If they come in really fatigued, then we are going to spend more like 30 to 40 minutes of that hour with them in restorative postures, ideally 3 postures, 10 minutes each, right? But typically, it's a client that comes to you like this client with back pain and hip pain. She didn't come to me because she has fibromyalgia. She came to me because her back hurts and her hips hurt, right? And she knows that I get great results with pain. She comes to me with this. So someone like that, I'm not just going to make her do as many resting poses as I know would be really good. Plus, we want to give her the relief in the hips and the back, which the restorative postures won't do. We need counter dog for that physical relief. We need knees to the chest, pulling the rope just right to get that physical relief and start to move the needle for them. And then, that's why I say legs up the wall, because it's really common. A lot of times I'm planning, okay, with this person, I'm definitely going to try to do 2 restoratives, and I don't have time. Just because I'm going slow, I'm taking my time. I don't want to be rushed in the counter dog. And then I don't want to be rushed in the restorative, and I might not have 25 minutes to do the restorative. So I'll take a little bit more time in setting them up with legs up the wall and make sure they're good there, and then let them be there for a solid 10 to 15 minutes. 10 is kind of we're hoping that they can be there comfortably for 10 minutes. That's the basic amount of time. And then you can see your client. And if they're really, really comfortable, you're definitely going to leave them for 12 minutes or 13 minutes or 14 or 15, because those extra minutes this is the first inversion, legs up the wall. Those extra minutes at the end are exponentially powerful in terms of the results they're getting. The effect of the circulatory system, and this very nuts and bolts release of tension from the nervous system. So you are empowered to go help your peeps who have, right? So many people have autoimmune issues. People watching this video have autoimmune issues. This is so, so common. And this is a powerful, powerful approach to helping that is comfortable, easy, makes sense, non-challenging, and really, really does get results, where these people have tried so many different things for so long and can't get results. Results here meaning busting through that fatigue, getting some of their energy back. When you have clients show up and they learn this from you and then they start to implement it consistently, they will get amazing results with their energy levels. And you can really, it's really amazing to be able to impact someone on this level who has felt so hopeless for so long and been, had the brain fog and have the fatigue so hardcore all the time, just kind of levels. It's really, really powerful for them when they get this practice and start implementing it, because the bell curve really does start going up at their pace. So I'm going to stand for some questions. I see two of you here. Thanks for being here. I'm going to hit the record. If you're watching this recording, thank you for being here. Let me know if you got value.